by thanking my barista. What did I get this morning? I got a pumpkin spice latte, light sweet, extra ice, chai cold foam, and then I got decaf, and then I did almond milk. So that's a very difficult order, and she really crushed it.
Oh my God. That's the order of a liberal girl who goes to see her therapist twice a week, if I ever heard one.
Also, who the fuck rated our podcast a 4.7? I'll find where you live.
You know what happened? People are rating us 5 stars and someone gave us a 4 and it weighted us down. And just so you know, Emily's street and she will find you and destroy your life. For everyone listening, we're doing this on Friday, September 27th. It's going to be out on Monday, a bit off our usual schedule, but we have a lot of travel next week. So we decided to shoot this early and didn't want to leave our 5 loyal followers without an episode. So we're recording this. So Kamala Harris is currently visiting the border. And I mean, it took her long enough. It tells me that she must be doing so badly on their internal polls, and all the polls that we're seeing publicly have to be fake, because she's saying that she's not going to take your guns away, that she's a gun owner. Now she's finally going to the border after what? Only a year ago, she had that horrible interview where she said, I haven't been to Europe. And now the woman's willing to go to the border. So that tells me they know she's losing and that she actually has to start repairing her image with everyone.
And it's like, so she's flipped. First of all, the coolest thing Kamala Harris has ever said is the interview she did on Oprah, where she was like, if someone comes into my house, I'm shooting them. And then right after that, she was like, my PR team will deal with that. And I was like, oh, okay. So guess you love guns and you're not going to do all the buybacks and all this shit, because now your polling on everything has changed. And then, yeah, when she was like, I haven't been to the border or haven't been to Europe either. And I go, well, you're not the czar of Europe. So that wouldn't make sense for you to go to Europe, would it? Now would it? Kamala.
It's also so embarrassing if you're trying to be the leader of the free world and you're bragging that you haven't been to Europe. And I'm sure she's been to Europe in her life, but I don't want someone who's some sheltered sorority sister who's like, oh, I haven't been to Europe yet. Like, that's what she sounds like when she says that. Also,
didn't she grow up in like a pretty decent family in like fucking Canada or something? I don't know. Yeah. I was watching Candace Owens was doing like a deep dive on like straight up like pulling her ancestry and her birth certificate. And I was like, yeah. I love Candace so much for that. She does not hold back. And she was like, yeah, like every time you go deeper, you just discover more lies. And I'm like, not that I'm like shocked. Like either way, she just sucks as a candidate. So like all that shit at the end of the day is kind of irrelevant. We all know that they're liars. But it's like, what is she going to do at the border now? She's going to go there and just thank them all for voting for her.
Yeah, well, aren't they adding new citizens? Aren't we adding new citizens at historic rates right now? You had some article that you found that was saying that we're adding new citizens.
There's 3 things that's insane. So it says Biden's DOJ has sued 2 rural Wisconsin towns after they switched from including electronic voting machines to only using paper ballots in their elections and counting them by hand, because we now know the machines are tampered with, and that's how they stole the election the first time. Yeah.
Although I'm part of that camp. I'm part of that camp that thinks that they also did it with paper ballots, and that's why they were covering the windows when the pipes burst at 3 a.m.
Oh, no, I'm sure this is just an easier way for them to cheat. I think that's a more difficult way, and they don't like things to be difficult. And then after that, it says we're running out of conspiracy theories. Election looming. The U.S. is approving citizenship applications at the fastest speed in years. Oh, my God. I wonder why that is. I mean, and then, of course, there's videos the typical liberal just posted of them literally knocking at people's doors that are like illegal immigrants. And they're like, oh, I'm voting for Kamala. I keep saying Biden, but it's like I forgot that he's not currently. Well, actually, I'm sorry. He is currently the president, which is even more insane.
But it just goes hand in hand with they have the illegals that are getting registered to vote. They want to tamper with machines, with ballots. Luckily though, we are seeing some good news out of a bunch of states. Like, was it North Carolina, where they got rid of hundreds of thousands of dead people and duplicate voters that were there last time. I believe the same thing happened in Virginia. So at least we're seeing some good news in those states. But then we're seeing our WEF overlords making some moves. So the devil incarnate himself, George Soros, is getting fast-tracked by the FCC to purchase over 200 radio stations, on which I'm sure most conservatives are on. And it's just, this is the kind of like Soviet stuff that you would read about and think this is, like this would never happen in America. And it's happening, and the government is fast tracking it. And I don't know how fast that means exactly, but whether it's before or after the election, that's scary, because we just know, whoever wins, there's going to be a lot of fallout. There are going to be lawsuits across different states. Does anyone think that the election is going to be resolved on election night? Because I certainly don't, unless it's just such a landslide, which I do believe. I do believe there's a world where Trump can just win in a landslide, that it's too wide of a margin for them to cheat their way out of it. But if it is close, it's going to be a really messy few weeks. And that's why Soros is trying to take over the radio, right? And he's trying to deplatform they hate that we just have Twitter, right? Twitter and some radio. And so they have to chip away at radio, and they're sending the DOJ after Elon because they hate that we have a single platform where we can actually communicate our ideas and not have our speech suppressed.
Also, I feel like the more they go after Elon, the more outspoken he gets, and the more he brings everything up that's going on. So actually the better it is for us. And also Elon does polls on Twitter, so you can clearly see that all these other polls are like completely biased, because I think Twitter's like the most accurate one, and it's like Trump is like winning by like 80% on Twitter. So I kind of like the more they go after him, the more he's like free speech.
I don't know that I agree with you on that, though. Like, I think Twitter really skews heavily towards conservatives now and towards free thinkers. I mean, the left, they say things like, I'm scared of Twitter. I'm scared of Elon. Remember like all the boycotts where they all went to Threads when everything first happened, when he bought Twitter?
Well, Threads is fucking gay.
I won't do Threads because it's like, you can't delete it. It's not separate. I just refuse to be on it, which is probably a bad business decision, but I actually have morals. And so I'm not going to do it just to have followers. Yeah, I don't know. I get previews. Instagram will feed me previews to try to lure me into Threads. And it's always the most heinous stuff that's the opposite of what I believe. And it'll say like 12 likes from some famous person. And so it just goes to show you.
Literally be like, the only Threads it's ever shown me is from Taylor Lorenz. And I was like, so this is basically a way to make me never sign up for Threads, so I don't see what dumb shit that horse-faced bitch says.
Yeah, that soulless Taylor Lorenz, who actually follows my Instagram account, which is one of the scariest things to have happen to me, because does she follow you too? I think she might.
Fuck no, she does not follow me.
Well, she follows me. And for anyone who doesn't know, Taylor Lorenz is the ambiguously aged Washington Post reporter. I say ambiguously aged. She's one of those women where if you go to her wiki page and try to find her age, it's like unknown, as if she's like a pharaoh from thousands of years ago where we don't know exactly when they were born.
She definitely looks a lot older than she probably is.
She wants to be a young millennial Gen Zer, and so she tries to play it off, but she's actually just this crazy leftist who still wears a COVID mask and N95. And by the way, your friend Jessica Krause of House and Habit, she's spent time with Taylor and has kind of come to her defense. I'm curious. I would love to have her on the show and for her to explain that to us, but I think it's a little too kumbaya for me. Taylor Lorenz has actively tried to destroy the lives of so many conservatives. She's deplatformed them. She had her friends kick off a lot of people from Instagram. She really just goes after people, and she follows my Instagram account. So I will not be clipping this moment for our reels because
she came after me on Instagram until I like fucking literally blasted her, and I was like, I'm the worst person you could ever do this to, and I live in LA. I'll fucking see you in person.
That's why whoever gave us a 4-star rating on Spotify should be terrified. But because Emily will remember, and
she's just like retarded though. Like she's way too old to be doing this. She's very dumb. She came at me and was like, "You're a misinformation spreading, blah blah." I'm like, "You wear a fucking mask, retard." Sincerely, sit down.
Plot twist with Taylor Lorenz. She has a hilarious meme account. It's like Taylor Lorenz 3.0 or something like that. I actually follow that account. I don't follow Taylor Lorenz on Instagram, but her meme account is actually very funny. It's more girl humor, so the guys listening to this might not like it, but it is quite funny, and I think that's why she follows me, because she'll take a lot of my stories and put them on the posts there. No, it's definitely her. It's definitely her. So we'll move on from Taylor Lorenz.
Well, it was funny because
you be warned all the time.
It was funny because she sent her like little brigade after me online of like people would like literally complain. Like she said, I don't have a lot of followers and all I do is post thirst traps. And I was like, literally all my cars are in the video, like are, in a car with no makeup on. I was like, I'm sorry. I could be posting bikini photos every day. Also, I still have more followers than you, dipshit. And then she sent her friend after me, and all I had to do was post her friend on my private story one time, and then I have like 12 girls being like, that guy definitely tried to like, probably finger me when I was drunk. So I was like, hey, next time you step into the fucking ring. And I literally messaged him and I was like, I will post every single screenshot of every girl, and I found your LinkedIn, and I'm going to go to your company, and I'm going to go viral, and I will post all this on fucking Rumble and with the link on my Instagram. And then, what did he do? He blocked me, because that's what guilty people do. So I was like, before you send your fucking creepy fucking probably rapist friends after me, know your place, bitch. I'm not the one. I do.
But that's why I think she's gone after fewer people over the last few years because people started punching back. And that's what we need to do as conservatives. We need to punch back everywhere. So the Soros thing is really bothering me, though, with the radio, because it's just like we're going to have to create a whole duplicate parallel economy where we're just like, as conservatives, we're good at a lot of things. We're not good at making technology. So if we need radio stations and all that, like, I don't know. It's like we're like, I don't want to be Amish. No knocks on the Amish. They're very pro-Trump. Scott Presler has had the funniest photos on Twitter. He's doing an amazing job on the ground in Pennsylvania, just registering every last person to vote. And he went to like Amish villages and has been getting them registered to vote.
That's so good.
There are a lot of images of Trump at his rallies in Pennsylvania with some Amish folks in the audience, which I really love. I also went to school in Philly, and so there were a fair number of Amish people I'd see at the train station, which was always very fun.
It's actually really funny though.
This week? Zelensky and Trump, I actually think is so iconic. The fact that Zelensky has to know that Trump is going to win for him to go to the man that he knows wants to end the war. And Zelensky himself said in their meeting at the presser that Trump made him do after telling him what seat to sit in when they went to the boardroom. He said, we need to find a way to end the war, and we're going to. He has never said those words before, has he?
I don't know, but why? I'm confused. Zelensky's meeting with Biden and Kamala, and then he's also meeting with like Trump, but like obviously he knows Trump is not the one to fuck with. And if you are going to end anything, it's going to be that. But I thought the whole point was he didn't want the war ended. Especially when, his wife's at Cartier in New York spending $250,000 with our taxpayer money. If you don't think this is like legitimately, this is a fake war, but real people are dying.
Yeah, it's true. It's a like fake war.
It's sad because so many innocent people are dying, but it is a fake war. I mean, he's an actor, and she's literally at Cartier spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I think what he's doing is, listen, I think Zelensky was being smart. I think he recognizes that Trump is very likely to win, and that if he and Trump is very good at moving past things with people. Like I know countless stories. I personally know people between Florida and New York who have done business with Trump, where they would be in lawsuits with Trump, and they would still be friends, and they'd still go golfing. And that is Donald Trump, right? And he's actually good at that. And I think Zelensky recognizes that if you offend him, and if he were in the States and not meeting with Trump when he is the leading opposition candidate who's very likely to be president, Trump would remember that. And so if Trump, hopefully, God willing, when Trump is president again, he will know that Zelensky came and started working towards a deal, and so Zelensky will get himself a much better deal. And I'm sure Trump is smart. He knows he is a natural born world leader and deal maker. He's been acting like the president of the United States for the last 4 years with, going to East Palestine after the train derailment, having Zelensky come and kiss the ring right now. Like Trump is the acting president for us on the world stage. And Zelensky knows that. And so Trump will probably make a sweetheart deal for Zelensky where he'll be set up for life. But fine, like Trump will probably do that to make sure that the war ends and everything else stops. And so that'll be worth it. And I think Zelensky knows that.
Yeah, I don't want another fucking dollar of my taxpaying money going to some fake fucking war in some shithole fucking place that's like had so much bloodshed that's literally just for Democrats to fucking funnel money. And it has literally been like that since the dawn of time. And everyone fucking knows that.
What's crazy is that, there's no job in the world. And I think most people listening to this probably have all kinds of jobs, normal jobs. They're not in politics. You're not related to government. You just like to talk about this stuff. Can you imagine being at a company where you had a job where they told you, we're going to pay you and have no KPIs. We're going to have no expectations for you. You're going to have no goals. There's no accountability. And we will just continue to pay you. that would literally never happen unless you're working for your parents, right? And even then,
Oh,
I
Hunter
know people.
Biden in Ukraine
Yeah, but
as
even
the
then,
head
I
of
know
energy.
people who work in the family business, and in some ways, I think that they have a tougher job because the parents are even harsher on them than they would be on an employee. It's not always the
Oh
case,
yeah.
and sometimes it's very relaxed. But with Ukraine, in what world does the United States of America send billions upon billions of dollars to a country where they don't have to tell us how they're using it, and they don't have to tell us what their end goal is? Can
Yeah.
anyone define for me right now what it would take for the Ukraine war to end?
And explain to me what a crackhead who fucks hookers has to do with being the head of energy with no resume besides
He's
his
an
dad.
he's an artiste, Emily. You just don't get it, but it's
He is
actually
an artist. I actually was saying, like, if I ever make like tons and tons of money, I want to have a studio. I just want it to be just one big white room, all white walls, my camera set up, and I just want only Hunter Biden art in the entire room behind me. I want to buy every fucking piece he's ever made, and that's it. I don't want any other artist in there.
Oh, that's so good. As a little sidebar, I went to high school with someone who claims to be his muse, and she was in her mid 20s when he was in his early 50s, late 40s. I don't know. They were dating a few years ago when he was baking crack at the Beverly Hills Hotel with her in one of the hotel rooms. So
I'm so bummed I didn't get to hang out with him in my party days because we would have had so much fun.
Like he's definitely a lot of fun at parties.
Like literally making crack at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Like if you told me that like a couple years ago, I'd be like, when and where? I will get there. That sounds.
But you know what I think
like
Hunter Biden is? Hunter Biden is like the rich kid who still Venmos you because you had one more drink at dinner. Don't you think? You know those people where you're like, literally, like, what? We all know those people.
I fucking hate those people so much.
I hate those people.
My
I'm like,
rich friends are the cheapest.
Yeah.
Are the cheapest.
It's like sorry, Emily and I left our regular jobs with W-2 to like earn a living doing things that literally mean the IRS will audit us every season for the rest of time, and we can get swatted at any moment in the middle of the night. So and like we're risking everything and making less money, fine. And go to dinner. I don't order a drink. Friend orders a drink. You split the bill because that's what you do. It's what you do. Hunter Biden would be like, why don't you leave the tip because you're the one that got the drink?
Yeah. I will say though, as someone who doesn't drink, I will say though, if I go to dinner now, you're paying for your I'm not fucking paying for your drink and you to have a good time at this point. But that's because I don't drink anymore. Before I used to be like, oh, it's whatever. But I'm like, I'm not fucking paying for you to enjoy yourself at this point. We'll split the food.
No, but there's decorum of like, you don't split hairs over things that are not that different. In terms of splitting. But yeah, no, I've been to dinner with people who will have like 3 drinks and I have none. And when they don't offer to cover that difference, that's when I think there's a fine line of where it goes from being appropriate to not appropriate.
Yeah. But one thing about me, I'm like, you'll never see me at dinner again. Because that's insane behavior to me. That's fucking crazy.
I know.
That's so cheap.
People don't think about it. It's it's crazy. It's like when you order something normal at dinner and the other person gets like the really extravagant dish, and then I would never let that person, like if I'm
not going to name drop, but that's what my best friend does. I get the cheeseburger for $22, and bitch knows he gets the lobster pasta for $90, and I'm like you're so.
I was gonna say it's not Xavier DeRusso, is it? Can we clear his name?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Of course it is, Xavier. But he was a lot of fun on the pod last week, so we appreciate having him.
I know his quality was so much better than ours, and then I felt kind of stupid. I was like, oh,
we're gonna that's why we got the 4-star. This episode should just be called "Who Gave Us a 4-Star" on Spotify. Maybe that's what we'll call it. Okay,
we're so bitter about it.
We're so bitter. We're never going to forget. And one day I just want everyone to know that I used to work in tech. And I think that there's a way for me to employ an engineer friend to find out who did it. So you should
also,
know.
Genuine question. How much caffeine is in decaf? Because I haven't had a coffee for like 6 years.
There is some caffeine in decaf, I believe. It's just not.
But it's very little.
It's very little. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not going to have a heart attack as we're recording.
I wonder what that's like. I have so much caffeine every day. If you're watching on video, see me swinging this DDP, my Diet Dr. Pepper, all the time on the show. This
I
show is
literally haven't
fueled.
had a coffee since I was like 6 years ago.
I wish that could be me. I wish.
But now I'm like,
I,
my anxiety's setting in of what if they didn't give me decaf because I will die.
so we'll let everyone know on Monday when this is out if Emily is still alive. I can't do the show alone.
I also want to make a big
I can't do
announcement
this
to everyone.
alone.
I am getting Invisalign and I'm very excited. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Are you doing the kind where they have the dots on your teeth?
Oh my God. So he was like, because you already have good teeth. He was like, you can do the dots and you'll be fully done in 3 months. Or you can do without the dots and you'll be 6 months. And I'm like, 6 months is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't have
It
Emily
looks fucking
looking
weird.
Yeah, it does look. You could always tell. It's not bad.
And like
Listen,
obviously with what we do for a living, I'm like,
yeah, you don't want dots on your teeth on election night. Also, that's just not. That's
no,
not the vibe.
and like
that we're
also like
going
everything
for.
I do is like speaking and like smiling and talking to people and filming and interacting. So it's like I was just like, dude, 6 months will go by like that. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, this goes back to the conversation we had with Xavier on the last episode about bullying. I had proper braces as a kid, and it was so traumatizing. I had the palate expander where like it's separate, it like widens. It's so torturous, and your parents have to like turn a key, and it's like one of those like Spanish Inquisition torture devices, like stretching your mouth open. And I remember my teeth separating and getting a lisp for 2 weeks as my teeth were just widening. And my parents gave me spaghetti every night for a few nights. They gave me proper nutrition, but for a few nights it was like just spaghetti because I would slurp it through the gap in my teeth. And I had 4 years of braces.
Proper nutrition.
I have actual no memory of middle school because of all the years of braces. And you know what I want to say to all of that? I'm stronger for it. I'm better for it. And I think that kids today with their Invisalign will never know what it was like to have those like metal braces. Like we're coming up on Halloween. I remember doing the rubber bands, like orange and black, you know?
So did I. Oh my God. And then Christmas I did red and green.
Red and green. You would do that.
And then sometimes like purple. Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Which by the way, I've had braces for 4 years. I had braces, I had perfect teeth, but then I got a retainer and immediately had a root canal and the retainer never fit again. So I figured, fuck it. So my top teeth are fine. It's just my bottom teeth started moving, which caused a little gap right here. So I'm like, well, fuck it. You know what? People talk shit about my teeth online. Guess what, bitches? I'm about to ball out because I got that money in the bank and I'm going to get Invisalign. What the fuck are you going to say about me next? I know you're going to tell me to get a nose job and fuck you guys too, because maybe I fucking will after I make more money.
Yeah, when the show makes it big, she and I are gonna do a big transformation.
I'm literally going trans. I'm transforming. And then you'll never see me again.
By the way, did you hear that Lana Del Rey got married this week? This is really good.
Wait a minute. I thought that was just her boyfriend.
So, it's funny. I hear the vacuum in the back.
Oh my God. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. First world problems. My maid is vacuuming. Let me see if I can go close the door.
We are back because Emily had to close the door of her office. Yeah, Lana Del Rey got married this week and you thought it was her boyfriend, but in fact.
Wait, I'm confused. It's her boyfriend and she met him doing like alligator tours or whatever.
I don't know how she met him, but I read that she met him a few years ago, but this is what I love. Lana Del Rey, you probably know more about her journey than I do, but she was bigger, not doing as well. She seemed to go through kind of a hard phase. And then she came out of it. She looks amazing. And she meets a guy in Louisiana on a bayou who is an alligator swamp tour guide, just Chad guy wearing camo. And she falls in love with him. They go public in August, literally a month ago. And now they're married today. And it just goes to show you when you clean up your life, when you're happy, when you're healthy, you just want a real man who's wearing camo and is just an alligator swamp tour guide. Just Chad.
I'm just confused because okay. I mean, go off. The whole thing's just very confusing. I'm also
What's confusing? She just wants a real man. There's nothing confusing about that.
But I'm like, is that gonna last? Doesn't she come from like crazy money? Because she dated my friend who's a billionaire, and like, I felt like that was like more of a vibe for her. But I'm sure he's a fucking psychopath. So like I get it.
But
After all
maybe
that,
she
she probably
wanted
just wants a
somebody
normal guy.
authentic. Maybe she wants someone who probably I'm sure I bet he signed a prenup, and he probably doesn't. He probably doesn't care if they just, I think that people are like, look, we know that like the camo macho guy, not macho is probably the wrong word, but we know like the camo manly man is appealing, which is why Tim Walz is trying to be that. That's why the left is trying to commandeer camo when all they've done is shit on camo for the last few years and basically say, if you're wearing a camo hat, you're racist, is what they've been telling us for years. And now it's like in vogue, finally. I bet you Vogue would have a cover with, I bet like Met Gala this year is going to be camo themed at this point because they're just trying so hard. And you know why? It's the same reason why Kamala is taking all these policies from Trump. It's because the right has the winning policies. We're doing the stuff that's actually popular with people. But I just think people are realizing that having an androgynous low T soy beta guy that you would have to defend if a robber came into your house is so unappealing. And that the appealing guy is just a real man. And it's not about money, right? Because you could be a billionaire guy and you could just be so soft and so not masculine. Like, I'm sorry. Would you rather be with Alex Soros with his billions of dollars?
Oh, God.
Soulless WEF overlord, Alex Soros. Or would you rather be with a guy who operates an alligator swamp tour and is just a happy guy who treats you well and has good values and probably works out at the gym?
I know that demon Satan worshiping sex with Alex has got to go wild though.
Oh my God. I can't.
Kidding, guys. You know that shit's got to be fucking crazy. It's probably like fucking a Balenciaga bedroom or something.
I just feel like that's
with like children with like fucking with like fucking what is it, BDSM shit everywhere.
Oh my God, I can't. No, I just don't even. I prefer to think of Alex Soros as asexual, to be honest, because he's definitely not straight. But I prefer that he's just nothing, and that his
also, it's not just Lana. Bella Hadid went from dating The Weeknd to now she's dating like a guy who is like a fucking bull rider or some random shit like that. He does something with horses.
Oh, really? I hate the Hadids because they're all anti-Semites. But hold on, let me check.
And now she's just like, oh, they're all retarded. Actually, one of the sisters commented on something, and I was like, maybe tell your dad to stop fucking all the 19-year-olds in town, and then you can talk about Palestine. But maybe save the children in America from your father first, you fucking weird bitch.
Bella Hadid is dating a cowboy boyfriend. He wears a cowboy hat. This is so ridiculous. They're all these... all they do is talk. I mean, in fairness to the Hadids, I guess, I don't want to be fair to them, but they don't really talk about right-wing politics or left-wing politics. They just talk about like terrorism and they support terrorism. But there is a trend. There is certainly a trend now of women realizing they just want a real guy. And also, if you're Lana Del Rey, if you're Bella Hadid and you have all the money in the world, then just be with the guy you want to be with. And I know that there's probably an argument that people could make that when you're a woman, you want the guy to be the earner and there's a power dynamic there. And I do think that is really tricky. But if you don't
have to deal with
but if they don't care, when you have that much money, you don't even care because you just have so much money. It's irrelevant. And then you just want to be with the person you want to be with. And these women are choosing.
You have that much money. It probably makes you happy, making someone else happy because that's probably like the one thing you get to live for. Probably.
Do we think Lana Del Rey is going to vote for Trump now?
I really hope so. I feel like with all of her music and what it's about, it would make sense to vote for him.
I'm not as familiar with her music.
What? She's my favorite artist in the world.
I saw her perform live once. I thought she had a beautiful voice, but I'm not a follower. I used to be back. This was like 10 years ago when she was really in her peak.
Oh my God. She's still slaying. I think she is like literally the best female artist in the world. There is this video that went viral on TikTok. They're literally playing Lana Del Rey music to like young kids and like people our age. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is beautiful. And then literally break my heart in half. They start playing it for elderly people, like people in their 80s and 90s. And they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, who is she? Because they think it's an old artist. And they're like, no, it's like this woman in like whatever, her 30s or whatever. And they were like, oh my God, she sounds like an artist, like from like the 50s. She's unbelievable. And it is like literally the old people were like getting chills and almost crying. And I was like, this is the best video That's how you know she's good, because that's very, very difficult.
Well, maybe she's ours now. They
I
got
pray.
married.
I love
They
her.
got married in Louisiana on the Bayou where he operates his alligator swamp tour. And I just love this for us. I love this that we're getting people like Lana Del Rey who are, you know, like I feel like Yellowstone, the TV show, was a good way to just slowly try to get people
Yeah, people love that shit.
appreciative, that people started to appreciate what, you know, a different kind of culture than what they normally get on TV. And I love that people actually used to call Yellowstone a conservative show. There's nothing conservative about it. It just isn't liberal because it isn't shoving crazy values down your throat. And that's what makes it conservative.
Which, by the way, everything on Netflix now is insane. I started watching Interview with a
Everyone
Vampire.
is gay or trans. Gay is
Dude,
not even enough anymore. It's not even enough.
It's literally, okay, first of all, original Interview with a Vampire, please tell me you've seen.
No.
Okay,
No.
that's insane. That's another subject for another day. One of the best movies ever made. OG, unfucking believable. The cast is insane. One of the most perfect films of all time. I'm a freak, so I grew up like, I love like goth, you know, movies and vampires and all that shit. But it's like, that is the OG. That is the top one. Now they make a movie, or they make a TV remake. They just put it on Netflix, and my friend Luke is in it, who's an amazing actor. And I'm like watching it, and I'm like, the first couple, it's like they took the vampires, and then they're a black one, there's a gay one, and then they're like fucking in the air, and like one, they're getting fucked up the ass. And I'm like,
oh my God.
This was not in the original. Why do we have to fuck them up the ass?
Oh, geez. Oh, God.
And I'm like, of course the vampires are gay now. I was like, this is so annoying that you guys take something so good. Because honestly, the show was really good until that point. And then, like, obviously my boyfriend walked in and was like, what the fuck are you watching? I was like, well, this is where it ends. So I don't know what to tell you.
No, but it's true about every TV show. You try to watch anything. Like I remember they did, it's a little late on this, but they did a Sex and the City remake like a year or two ago. Do you remember that? And it was just so horrible. It was just one of the worst things I've ever watched. Almost everything right now is just so rotten that I don't watch. I have nothing else to watch. The only thing, this is not an ad, by the way. We're not being paid to talk about this. The only funny thing I've watched in the last year is Am I Racist?
Literally.
Matt Walsh's new movie. It is just actually so funny. And all he did is record people saying exactly what they say all the time. And that's what made it so funny. But it was just nice to have something where I feel like the problem with these shows is it's that they're trying to shove something down your throat. It actually reminds me, did you see Will Ferrell came out this week and had some quote saying, you know, like the reason why people don't like trans and all this stuff is because they're not familiar with it. It's like a foreign concept to them. And that's such gaslighting.
Well, I'm not familiar with Sharia law, but I don't really like it either.
But also it's like you don't have to, it's also a lie. We are familiar with it. We don't like it. And so what he's doing by saying that is actually just undermining your argument that it's bad. Right. And so that's why he's saying it, because it's just taking any credibility away from you to rule on trans, rule on all these topics and say it's bad. And he says, oh no, you just don't understand. That's what they're trying to say. So
you know what's funny is like I think Sex and the City is the best show ever made. If anyone that knows me, if you walk into my apartment at any point in time, the past God knows how many years, that is playing 24/7. I've seen it front to start literally a million fucking times. I think it's the best show ever made. But it's so funny because I watch it and it's actually like, because it's older, I like it because it's ironically, for being Sex and the City, you would think it's a very liberal show, which it is. It's very progressive
liberal.
People in a city.
Yeah.
But it's funny because progressives back then were actually conservative because they're very like, okay, gay guys are gay guys, women are women, lesbians are lesbians. But then like, you know, like when they start doing like even weird sexual things, all this shit in the show, like most of the characters in it, like even Carrie and especially like, you know, Charlotte are actually very conservative in it. Like they don't really like talk about weird shit. And then of course now you have like the woke one and it's like awful. But the original show is actually like nothing's crazy in it. It's very like normal. Like if you live in a city, that's city life.
It's nothing's crazy except for all the sex they have with like strangers, basically, which is obviously not in
which
line.
Is like obviously the point of the show.
Yeah, and that's the point of the show. But I think I agree with you in that they just don't talk about politics. Like there's no commentary. There are no jabs at, you know, Bush was president at the time. There are no references to that at all. It's just they are girls living their life. And also some of the lessons, I actually, when I watch it now, I think most of our audience is male, so we won't stay on this too long. But we're trying to balance out to a more female balanced audience. But I think most people listening right now are male. But when you rewatch the show, and this is important for anyone who has daughters who might watch this, I look at it with such a different lens now because Carrie is basically the villain. She's the main character. And the first time I watched it as a kid, growing up in, feminist New York, rah, rah, women are strong and independent. Everyone always talked about Carrie as this amazing character. And when you watch it, she has terrible values. She spends all her money on shoes instead of saving. She guilt trips a friend of hers to sell her wedding ring from her ex, from her divorce, so that way she could afford her
Sleeps with a
apartment.
married guy.
She sleeps with a married guy. I mean, this is bad stuff. And growing up with that show, we were told this is the blueprint for women being strong and happy. And women are not. And that's why I think, going back to Lana Del Rey, that's why women are just trying to find more traditional guys who represent real masculinity in society, who have tattoos and beards and have very different jobs that, what's more attractive to a woman, a cowboy or a guy who's typing away on his little spreadsheet, sitting at his desk, eating his sweet green salad with the seed oils? What's more attractive? So
No, honestly though. But it is funny though. You really do think Carrie's like the best and the star of the show the whole time. And then you realize like she's like actually kind of a piece of shit. And Charlotte, the most conservative one, is actually the most normal one and the sweetest one. And then at least Samantha, I don't agree with her lifestyle, but at least she's like so upfront about it and like no bullshit about it. And then obviously the redhead, like no one ever fucking likes.
Yeah. But you know what's funny about that show? They had to change it so much because back then no one, like, they had gay friends in the show. You don't deal with all this stuff today. Demisexual, pansexual. I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. I did want to talk briefly because I'm in Florida. I thought we'd talk about the hurricane for a second because
what's happening? I don't know.
So I'm on the East Coast. Everything's fine here. The West Coast is getting hit pretty badly. I think it's not as devastating as a hurricane we had a couple years ago where there was really so much damage and a lot of people died. It was really bad. And that was actually supposed to come my way. And then it rerouted over to the West Coast. So they were just caught by surprise. But I just love all these videos of people on boats going through the streets that are filled with water, totally flooded with Trump flags. And all these news reporters who are out there trying to show what's going on. And people are in the background yelling, fight, fight, fight. It's just, Kamala could never. She would never inspire people to do that.
Her own voters, it's so funny. Like we've seen 9 million man on the street interviews. Her own voters don't like her.
No
one likes her.
Did you see the interview with the kid where they were CNN?
Like year-old.
I'm shocked that CNN put this out because they're the ones that published this. And they what?
MSNBC did that interview where they were like, well, everyone has like a plan. Like, what are you saying? Like, so what makes your plan different? Like, what are you going to do? And then she just like could not talk.
Yeah.
So,
and you watch them like in the Oprah interview, you see in Oprah's eyes realizing that maybe Biden was the better choice because she's realized how dumb Kamala is. But that was pretty golden. CNN, for anyone who didn't see, had an interview with a kid and they asked him, what's the first word you think of when you hear Kamala Harris? And he just went, liar. Without skipping a beat, the kid said liar. So that was beautiful. And then what's interesting? I actually pulled this up for us. I know, good parents. That kid's going places. It was on Morning Joe. They were talking about how Kamala's polling with men, and the quote is actually incredible because they're saying Kamala's doing badly with young men, older men, men of color, and white men. That's all men. It's all men. So she's polling badly with everybody. And it's like, it's honest to God. It's like they made Kamala Harris in a lab, like engineered her to just be so unappealing to any man that none of these men want to vote for her. And what's crazy is that Morning Joe is actually admitting this on the show.
Any statement from Mumford Sweetener? She's like, no. She's like, I don't care if she's a woman. I just want biscuits to be cheaper. Well, I mean, it's pretty. That's what I was gonna say. I'm shocked this close because we were 39 days from election. I'm pretty shocked that they're like willing to like let these things be on TV and like they're almost becoming a little slightly unbiased sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I was shocked by this clip that they even said that out loud and that they were admitting how badly she's doing. But I also wonder if a lot of them are frustrated that they have a
Yeah.
candidate who's so bad and they're all just trying to pull dead weight. Because that it's like being in a group project. If you're on the left wing right now, you're in a group project with a ton of dead weight, and you as the media apparatchiks are responsible for just making her likable, and they're probably pretty pissed off right now.
And aren't they? And also, okay, two things. Cause I'm like, also like, if like, you know, she's not a winner, but like, God forbid she won. It's like, wouldn't you have to like pull that dead weight for literally 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
And aren't they stressed about that? And then also they know that their ratings will go down if Trump doesn't win.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think that they all secretly want Trump to win because they know that the economy will be better under him, and they know that their ratings will be better under him. And that's the difference between the left and the right, right? On the left, they actually want Trump to win because it's better for them overall. Yeah. On the right, we just want the right candidate, whatever that means for us, because we know it's better for the country. So we are just not the same, which actually reminds me, I think a final point before we sign off and let people live their lives who are listening to us right now.
Let Monk Fruit live her life.
Let Monk Fruit be free. But Eric Adams, everything that's happening in New York City, I think is a really important example of how we defend people when things are wrong, no matter what side they're on. I find Eric Adams to be one of the most unappealing and frustrating mayors in the country. This is a man whose only accomplishment has basically been making school lunches vegan, learning what a trash can is for New York City after paying McKinsey millions of dollars for a study, and going to zero bond 5 nights a week. And in spite of all of that, we are all saying the DOJ is being weaponized against him because he spoke out. I think it's because he spoke out against all the illegals in the city, and also because he's very pro-Israel. And I think it's those two reasons.
Which is crazy because I'm like, I mean, I think he's a piece of shit and sucks and ruined that city. And it's so funny because it's like, I wonder if these people will naturally lean more, either cave in or lean more towards our side, because like, oh, I guess when it happens to you, all of a sudden you don't like these things. Well, welcome to what's been happening to every Republican the past how many years. So it's like kind of interesting to see how he's going to go about it. Like, is he going to be a fighter and maybe start to like be less of a piece of shit? Or is he just going to cave in and just let them do, you know, whatever they want to him? And he's the sacrificial lamb of the Democratic Party. But it's like, no offense, you like really fucking ruined people's lives, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's very house of cards with the left. As soon as they don't need you, they dispose of you. And we've seen that over and over again. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. But it's just, but the left never does that for us. So it's just, they only speak out when it's their own.
Republicans turn on each other like that, because I think, but also it's like Republicans aren't against all that shit. Like they're all for like, you know, the vaccine mandates and the mask mandates and the lockdowns. And then, you know, as we find out that they're having like gay orgies during the lockdowns, and, you know, Gavin Newsom's at his fucking winery while we're all like locked in place and all these things. But it's crazy because it's like the second you stick up for anything as a Democrat, like they just go after you with everything they have. And then I'm like, oh, and you're telling me they're not weaponizing the justice system against Trump, when like they literally weaponize the justice system against their own people.
Yeah. I mean, if you say that you're voting for Trump, if you say you're a liberal, but that you understand that Trump is better for the country and you don't agree with all the policies, the movement will bring you in with a strong embrace. That's why Amber Rose was the freaking, you know, lead speaker at the RNC. She was a keynote speaker because that's how open we are to people. And if you go to the left and you stray from one issue, just one of the whole list, you're out and they're done with you. So I'd say
that's why I'm like, it's not really the party of peace, love, and tolerance, when like you have to be aligned on every single thing. Whereas like Republicans are all pretty different about most things, but we manage to still be like, okay, well, at least we're like on the same team. Most of us are. Some of us apparently would rather go on Twitter and say that Amber Rose shouldn't be a part of the movement, and we'd rather just lose this election again because they're bitter that they have a very small platform. But the rest of us are very welcoming with open arms.
Yeah. So let's welcome with open arms the weekend. Oh, but that's funny because we're going to post this on a Monday. So never mind. Welcome with open arms the rest of your week. Just remember that Marxists never rest, and neither should we. And so let this be a rallying cry to work very hard this week, because millions of illegals are depending on you to pay for their hotel room. So,
and Monk Fruit, her vet bills are also depending on you guys.
So Theo, I was actually at the vet 2 days ago. So our vet bills are depending on you all. So please give us 5 stars on Spotify. Whoever the loser was who gave us 4 stars, we want to hear from you. We will feature you on the show if you send us a message telling us why you did it, and can verify. Send us a screenshot of your rating, and we would love to read it out loud on the show. So let us know. Thank you all for listening. Emily, where can everyone find you?
At Emily Saves America.
And you can find me at NonLibTake. Find us on mostly Instagram, also Twitter, and make sure to follow Officially Unfollowed. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, haters.
Bye.